home economics, wasn't the thing you took. You're supposed to take wood shop, electric shop, auto mechanic shop. And I was like in love with cooking. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna do this like home economics thing, not knowing that everyone was gonna shun me, look down on me, and pick on me. Camden was not your vacation spot growing up. It was definitely a place that you put on your bulletproof vest, you kept your head on a swivel, and you just really tried to observe your surroundings and just push through. And it wasn't an easy upbringing, but it was a good upbringing because it instilled some really good values and it strengthened me as a man and also gave me the courage to know that I can do anything if I put my mind to it. I remember 6th grade through 8th grade were my worst years, making Rice Krispie treats and cookies for the first time and thinking like, oh, my friends want to love me and dig me now. And they just decided to throw it at me and, call me corny and gay and who cooks and all this stuff. And I didn't want to sell drugs because I didn't want my dad to whoop me. I didn't want to be out in the corner and get shot. I didn't want to rap. I didn't want to do the things that I was, were my norm, were my surroundings. And I didn't want to be an athlete because my mother couldn't afford to put me in any sports because we had, other siblings around. And honestly, it was a worse outcoming, for me wanting to let people know that I love this thing called cooking and I want to be this thing called the chef. 2 moments I had as a kid that I knew that cooking was for me. When I took my sister's easy bake oven and I took some Cracker Jacks, I'll never forget this, and I put it in that little teeny, like 3-inch pan, and I made something like a griddle, and we went bananas. We were all in the room, like they thought I was like the Iron Chef of the year. And then secondly was when my mom and dad were in their room, and I think it was their anniversary, and I went downstairs. We had just gotten the microwave, and I made them a meal out of the microwave. It was frozen cod. I forgot to take the bones out. It was rice in a microwave in a bowl, but I didn't cook it long enough. And for the appetizer, I took some Triscuits and I put pepperonis and cheese on it and mic'd it. And that was probably the best thing of the whole dish. And my dad came to me and he bit down on that rice with a smile. He's like, this is pretty good. It's kind of hard, but it's good. And that influenced me in a big way because he didn't tell me how bad it was. He just told me how good it was. And I realized I made some mistakes and I redid it again maybe years later. And I enjoyed laughing about it because those were my 2 moments that let me know this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. As my career evolved, I started to learn that I had a lot of passion. I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of things I needed to prove because I still had that middle school thing going on in the back of my head. I didn't feel like I accomplished anything. I didn't have a car, an apartment, a big house, anything like that. The things that I thought I was supposed to have when you carry the title as a chef. But then I learned that I had to tone it down because I brought a lot of Camden to everywhere I went. I brought a lot of animosity, a lot of strength, a lot of like grit that a lot of folks that I was working around wasn't used to. And they were wondering like, where did you come from? I'm like, I'm from Camden. What do you mean where I come from? Where did you come from? I was a tough guy. I was the guy that didn't take no crap. The kitchen was mine. I ran it my way. I was balls to the wall. We're going to keep it clean, keep it sharp, keep it tight. And then at some point I became a chef. Like the 3rd chef job I had, executive chef job, I learned, one of my employees came to me and said, hey man, we love you. We respect you. You don't have to curse us out. You don't have to talk to us that way. We want to make you happy. We get it. And that humbled me to a degree. It actually hurt my feelings and made me want to cry. Like I really didn't know I was impacting these people this way, that they loved to work with me, but they also hated to work for me. And that's where I had to find that balance to like still be the executive chef, the big dog, but also learn how to respect them and understand that they have just as much passion as I do. The Food Network thing happened by crazy chances of just my wife watching TV and like, hey, they got this thing on, they're looking for this next Food Network star. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got a job at Jefferson in Philly. I'm like a chef, the catering's a large department. I got tons of cooks. I'm teaching them every day. I get to wear a shirt and a tie. I got the weekends off. I'm good. I'm finally good. I got the job that I want, the salary I want. Like I said, the money has come, everything has come. I don't want to do anything else but this. And she had said, I think you'll be good for this because you're always cooking. You're always happy when you're cooking. And this guy with the spiky hair, I think you can do what he's doing 10 times better. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, if you find the information out, I'll try. I don't care. I'll try anything. And sure enough, she found the application and found out the process. I started going through, and then my brother-in-law came over, did a little simple, video of me making an omelet or something, and we sent it in. And I didn't know anything about auditions or nothing like that. And then the first time we got an email back, I didn't even know nothing about emails. It was just a struggle learning all this. And my wife was like, "Hey, they sent your email back, like they didn't get it, but they want you to resubmit your demo." And I said, "Okay, well, however you could do that for me, I appreciate it. Send it in again." She sent it again. And the second time, the deadline came again, and we missed the deadline. They didn't get it, but they sent the third email. They said, "Mail it." We mailed it the third time. They didn't get it. This is a real story. And come the fourth time, they got they received the demo tape or disc or whatever it was at the time, and they told me to come to New York. I've never been there before, and I remember being scared to think about going to New York. I did the audition. I didn't think they would call me. About a month or so later, they said, "Hey, you are one of the 10 finalists." My wife called me like, "Yo, Food Network just hit you back. They want you to come to New York. You're going to compete." And I was like, "No way, they got the wrong guy." She's like, "No, they want you." And I'm like, "Well, let's do it." That was a lot of discipline because it wasn't what I expected. I've never been around any other cooks, and these cooks were from all over the country, from California to Utah, some from New York, Texas. They were from all over, all different types of styles. I never thought, and still to this day, I don't put myself on a pedestal to think I am an elite grandmaster chef. I don't ever look at myself as just being Aaron McCargo Jr. and doing his thing, cooking with big bold flavors. But these folks were talented. And when I saw them and I got to talk to them, I'm like, oh, they're going to blow me out of the water. So the one thing I did have, because my faith is totally in God, and I was able to take my Bible because they didn't allow us to bring any cookbooks. No, of course, there was those cell phones and things like that popping off. And I remember just reading my Bible every day and praying like, "God, I don't know why I'm here. I know I'm going home." And every elimination came and I was still there. I said, "Well, I guess I'm not going home just yet." And when it got down to the final three, I realized that it taught me that everyone's cooking style is different. Don't be intimidated by it. It taught me to stay in my own head. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Do what you do, because I saw that happening through the competition. Folks were changing their way of cooking because whoever won the last round, they were like, "Oh, well, I need to go do my style their way and mix the way I was doing it." I'm like, "You're Southern, you're making biscuits and gravy. Reinvent the biscuits and gravy. Don't get away from the Southern thing," And I knew I was all about spices and herbs and really seasoning your food really strong that leaves an impact on your taste buds. And I never got away from that. And even though some of the judges were like, "Wow, that's a little, never salty, just wow." But when Morimoto tried my salmon, said it was the best salmon he'd ever had, I'm like, okay, I'm in the right direction. And so it really taught me to stick to what you know, stay in your lane. Don't try to be like anybody else, and don't look at anybody else. Just keep your faith and keep your belief in trust in you and God, and go forward. I didn't realize that the day after I won that I was supposed to go start taping Big Daddy's house. So Gordon Elliott, the producer, calls me and like, "Hey man, where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at work in Philly. What you need me to do anything?" Like, "You're supposed to be in New York. We're supposed to be taping Big Daddy's house." I'm like, "When?" He's like, "You won. You come back." So they sent the car for me, and I went to tape Big Daddy's house, and I was shocked. My dad was right. Prayer was right, and that if you stick with anything, it's sometimes going to pay off. And I'm glad that my dad's voice was in my head from such an early age, because it kept me grounded. It kept me focused. It kept me not wanting to quit and give up. And then the outcome was something I could have never painted or imagined for myself, was to be a celebrity chef on a very popular, network. Get out of what you're doing and go after your passion. Don't let nobody stop you. Don't let no one tell you it sucks. Don't let nobody tell you you're corny. Don't let nobody tell you you're too old. Don't let nobody tell you you're black. Don't let nobody tell you you're white. Don't let nobody tell you you're female or male. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. Just go with what makes you happy. And cooking makes me happy.